This is the DEFCON Warning System. Alert status for 1 p.m. Universal Time coordinated, Monday, the 19th of January 2026. Condition blue DEFCON 4. There are currently no imminent nuclear threats at this time. However, there are events occurring in the world theater which require closer monitoring. In the past week, serious diplomatic fractures have emerged between the United States and a broad swathe of its NATO allies over US tariff threats tied to Washington's contentious bid to integrate Greenland into the United States. On the 17th of January 2026, the US administration announced a 10% tariff on imports from 8 European NATO states, including Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands and Finland, beginning the 1st of February, with an escalation to 25% in June unless agreement on Greenland's transfer is reached. This tactic was framed as punitive for Allied opposition to US interest in acquiring Greenland, a self-governing territory of the Kingdom of Denmark. The White House has argued that control of Greenland is essential for US national security and Arctic defense against Russian and Chinese influence, though these claims have been widely disputed by European governments. Allied responses have been sharply critical. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer publicly condemned the tariff strategy as wrong and counterproductive to collective security. He stressed that Greenland's future is a matter for Denmark and its people, and opposed economic coercion as a tool of alliance management. European capitals have also signaled escalation in kind. The European Union is considering retaliatory tariffs worth approximately $108 billion and is prepared to explore its anti-coercion instrument, a suite of trade defense measures that extend beyond traditional tariffs, to counter what Brussels sees as economic blackmail. Analysts within the EU warn that these tensions risk weakening transatlantic unity at a time when collective deterrence against global adversaries is paramount. Statements from European officials include warnings that a US military takeover or coercive economic strategy around Greenland could be interpreted as hostile, with one senior commissioner asserting that such an action would effectively mark the end of NATO as a cohesive security alliance. The economic blowback has been immediate. European and US stock futures dropped on the 19th of January amid investor concern about widening trade conflict and its implications for global growth. For nuclear risk assessment, these diplomatic rifts are significant not because of near-term weapon deployments, but because they erode trust mechanisms among nuclear-armed and nuclear-dependent states. NATO has been a cornerstone of extended deterrence. Strains within it create strategic uncertainty at a time of heightened global tension. Turning to the Middle East, developments over the past week highlight continuing volatility linked to Iran's nuclear ambitions and regional deterrence postures. Iran remains at the center of global nuclear risk discussions. Contemporary assessments indicate that the country's nuclear infrastructure continues to be perceived as a latent capability to produce weapons-grade material, even if official policy denies weaponization. Reports suggest that Tehran possesses significant quantities of 60% enriched uranium, which is chemically close to weapons-usable levels, and could be further refined rapidly under capable facilities. Diplomatic reporting over recent days underscores Iranian official warnings that Tehran may act preemptively if it believes it faces an imminent military threat. Statements from Iranian defense officials have indicated that responding before an attack should be expected if clear signs of aggression are detected. Simultaneously, protests have continued across Iran driven by economic grievances. There are indications that, while reported protest numbers have declined in official counts, unrest persists in multiple provinces, and Iranian security forces have suffered casualties amid ongoing clashes. In London on the 13th of January, the UK Foreign Secretary updated Parliament on escalations involving Iran, emphasizing the broad international concern regarding Tehran's policies and regional actions. Although no direct armed conflict has erupted this week, the underlying nuclear dimension remains active. Continued enrichment of uranium near weapons-grade thresholds, if pursued further by Tehran, could sharply shorten breakout timelines and recalibrate strategic calculations by other Middle Eastern states, notably Israel and Saudi Arabia. The DEFCON Warning System is a private intelligence organization which has monitored and assessed nuclear threats by national entities since 1984. It is not affiliated with any government agency and does not represent the alert status of any military branch. The public should make their own evaluations and not rely on the DEFCON Warning System for any strategic planning. At all times, citizens are urged to learn what steps to take in the event of a nuclear attack. If this had been an actual attack, the DEFCON Warning System will give radiation readings for areas that are reported to it. Your readings will vary. Official news sources will have radiation readings for your area. For immediate updates, visit www.defconwarningsystem.com. Breaking news and important information can be found on the DEFCON Warning System Community Forum and on the DEFCON Twitter feed DEFCON WS Alerts. You may also subscribe to the DEFCON Warning System mailing list. Note that Twitter updates may be subject to delays. The next scheduled update is 1 p.m., the 26th of January 2026. Additional updates will be made as the situation warrants, with more frequent updates at higher alert levels. This concludes this report of the DEFCON Warning System.